Hi there everyone, and this is Krissy from indestars.by krissy.com, and in this video we are going to be talking about the December total solar eclipse that's going to be happening in the sign of Sagittarius. So, pag-uusapan natin kung ano yung energy influences na mangyayari for us this coming December, and because it is an eclipse, it has an effect from around 6 months to 1 year time. So this is going to be a very important moment for each and every one of us, lalo na if eclipse has an activation into your own natal chart all at the same time. So also, later on, I will be giving you guys information on how this can actually create an impact or have some form of manifestation to each and every zodiac signs out there. So stay tuned for that later. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do hit that subscribe button and tick the bell icon somewhere over here in the video to get notified whenever I post videos like this. And for a few announcements and plugs, I have recently revamped the website, so you'll be able to see my website in a brand new look, more minimalistic siya, and to get, for you guys to be able to access the services and products easier. So yun, and also I have new products upload, so if you haven't checked the website, I have a new set of spiritual and magic oils that is in there available. And I also have a Venusian Invoke face cream, which you can actually use for your face and for your skin. And I personally use that. I have been using that recently. More than my Korean creams that I used before. For some reason, it makes me, I don't know. And this is because of the influences of the Venus in Capricorn energy that I have personally used. This is because the influence of restoring youth, and lalo na pagka tumatanda ka, so the face cream has a lot of anti-aging properties and a prayer and invocation of Aphrodite to give that form of youthful and beauty and stuff like that. So if you're interested, you can take a look on my website indestars.by krissy.com under ritualized products. So you'll be able to see the new face cream that I placed over there. It also has a very healing property. So if you see some form of inflammation into your skin, by applying that cream, may parang healing factor siya, and it's also infused with vitamin C. So yeah, take a look on that if you're interested. Anyways, without any further ado and pluggings like that, let's now start the forecast for this solar eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius on December 4, 2021. And estimatingly, this is going to be beginning around 3:41 p.m. and this is going to be the chart which you guys should be able to see over here. So that's a chart for the Philippine time. Now this new moon, as you guys can see, it has the energy of Mars, okay? Meron siyang conjunction with Mars over there, and it really makes sense because this new moon, this solar eclipse is always about new moons, okay? So this new moon energy has the influences of Scorpio, which kind of makes sense because it is conjuncting Mars right now, no? And this energy of Scorpio in the constellation in the skies, because kung ano yung nasa sky in the constellation is actually quite a bit different from how we are taking a look at things. Here's the chart, so you guys might be able to see na we are having a new moon in the sign of Sagittarius, but ang activation ng fixed stars and constellations is around the Scorpio, and because hindi pa kasi talagang fully nasa Sagittarius yung energy, no, even though it's a new moon in the sign of Sagittarius, that that energy of the Mars in Scorpio energy creates a bigger influence into things. It activates that Alwaid and Antares energy, which is nasa may tail ni Scorpio, which is the most stinging part, you know, it's the poison. It what stings, it it's something that kills basically. So meron siyang ganong energy. And that's actually going to be very important because as you guys can see, there's a lot of aspects going on. Mars actually has a square to Jupiter, which we'll be talking about later on. And then this new moon is also creating a square to Neptune and also a trine there. A Mars trine to Neptune all at the same time. And then this new moon is also having this wonderful sextile to Saturn, but it has a quincunx energy, which is the green dash lines that you guys should be able to see with Uranus. So yan yung mga bagay na pag-uusapan natin isa-isa later on as we go through things. Okay, so whenever there is a solar eclipse or any eclipse in general, it activates a form of fated event. It activates some form of karmic influences that can happen on the collective level and on a personal level. So since this is happening around 12 degrees of the horoscope, so any one of you, you know, pag meron kayong mga planetary alignments and degrees around 12 degrees or around, let's say, siguro mga 9 degrees to 15 degrees or so, or until 18 degrees, anywhere malapit sa 12 can create an activation with this energy in place, basically. Yun. So as long as malapit ka sa 12 degrees, may activation ito sa chart mo, basically. Lalo na pag meron kang planetary influences and aspects doon, and pag nasa Sagittarius or Scorpio energy siya. Okay? So that's going to create a major significance sa'yo. Also, kapag meron kang Taurus, for example, if you have your Venus in the 12 degrees of Venus in your natal chart, it means that there's going to be some form of activation as well. So again, ulitin ko lang, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Scorpio and Taurus are, you know, the hot spots, I would say, of this activation of this solar eclipse. So another important factor here is that usually it's normal that lunar nodes are activated with this eclipse, okay? Because lagi namang ganon, no? Pagka hindi activated ng lunar node ang new moon or full moon, it means walang eclipse. So the fact na meron tayong activations of the lunar node, it means na may eclipse, okay? So just to give information for, you know, people that don't know about how eclipses work. It has a form of karmic influences, I said so earlier, and because this is a solar eclipse, this brings about new beginnings, but all at the same time, because of that activation of the south node, which makes this a south node solar eclipse, this means that there could also be some form of losses or removals or risk that might come in play. Now, this is where things get really interesting. I really do not think that south node is equals to losses in most cases. There are cases na it can trigger losses or removals of some kind, but I experience a lot of times wherein Ketu or the south node actually brings in new things into place. Like for example, this year we have this South Node and Sagittarius, right? And I did not really experience any form of losses or um of minuses in my life just because that the South Node was in Sagittarius. So I actually gained a lot, learned a lot in the process. So that's the interesting part with this Ketu energy, is because if you are actually acting upon integrity with moral values and with a good heart and mind, it's not really going to manifest in a very risky thing for you. So that is something that you guys can really take into consideration whenever there is an activation of the solar eclipse of Ketu. It's going to be very important that you are acting with integrity. Meron kang, alam mo yun, you're not doing something illicit, you're not doing something mean or bad, you're not doing some form of harming to someone. It's actually a very spiritual oriented kind of energy as well. So that's something that you will need to keep in mind, especially since this new moon has that energy of this Mars in Scorpio, right? Which I mentioned earlier. And this can, create that energy na sobrang mainitin ng ulo, like pabigla-bigla. And that is one of the manifestation of this energy. Parang isang area na nandidilim ang utak mo to the point na you're not going to see things very clearly. And that's actually one of the energies of this new moon, especially since this has an activation with Draco, the eye of Draco, which creates some form of blindness when it comes to fixed stars and astrology. So it can create that factor wherein you're not going to see things in a very clear lens, kumbaga. And this is because of your own impulses. This is because of, masyadong mainitin ng ulo mo, hindi ka masyadong nakapag-isip, you were not able to prepare yourself, you're not able to see through things very clearly. Maybe because you feel so unsettled, sobrang, in short, padalos-dalos talaga. Yung emotions mo is very, ganun. Parang, parang alam mo yun, heart attack na gusto mag-burst out and stuff like that. So, meron siyang ganung energy. So, this is actually more of a warning to a lot of people, I would say, Kasi, it means that this energy can be felt by a lot of people wherein they assume things, they argue with things. This is actually more of a fighting energy, and this Antares specifically is the energy of war, and it's also the energy that triggers assassinations, that triggers, having criminal minds, lying, manipulation, and stuff like that. Though I also find this more of a situation wherein you can also find answers or, find solutions in some form of way. But it only works for people that has more of a very scorpionic kind of energy, someone that can that knows how to strategize things, that knows how to think first, it's like those kinds of people that can see through twisted things para hindi sila maloko. So, merong mga ganun. So, meron tayong element dito na parang energy ng mga taong can really be very twisted and stuff like that. And meron din tayong energy na being able to see through all of those kinds of shades and things. So, that's the energy that we are picking up over here. And dyan pumapasok yung quincunx ni Uranus, no? Because that quincunx with Uranus can create a lot of tension. Alam mo yun, parang may biglang nangyari. Tapos, alam mo yun, it really makes you feel very unsettled na it's hard for you to not do anything. it's hard for you to not do anything. Kaya parang, ang nangyayari niyan is yung nervous tension mo is getting the best of you. So, it's creating mayhem and chaos into your life. And pag hindi mo pinag-isipan mabuti yung actions na ginawa mo, it might occur for you in a state of regret later on, because you might lose things instead of gaining things. Remember, we also have that conjunction ni Venus and Pluto all together, which can make this very, very powerful. And Venus in conjunction with Pluto has its good thing. I would say it has that energy of, very charming, very sexy, very enticing. Lalo na yung mga temptations and stuff natin and stuff like that. That can really come in a very, very strong way. But at the same time, ayun nga, like I mentioned earlier, if you're not thinking things clearly, you might just fall yourself into a trap, because there will be people that will be doing things in a very illicit manner. There are people who might do bad things, or they might try to, lay a trap for you. Yung mga ganong klaseng situation. There could also be situation here wherein you might receive some form of news or messages or knowledge or wisdom of some kind, but it's hard for you to accept the truth. Or maybe the truth is already there, pero something just makes you feel unsettled one way or another. Meron ganong energy itong new moon all at the same time. However, I know marami magtatanong nito sa akin on TikTok and on my Facebook group. This energy is also really, really good for manifestation. So, for me, manifestation comes on different levels, okay? So there are what we call positive manifestation and negative manifestation. So thinking things in a negative way, having this negative mindset, can actually be a form of manifestation for you later on. And all at the same time, if you are in the state of having that right mindset, it's also very easy for you to create that manifestation of bringing in, bringing attraction of to whatever manifestation that you want to bring into your life, basically. So that sextile to Saturn, that trine to Neptune, creates that manifestation work. So for me, this is actually a good time to create your manifestations and stuff like that, even though na parang merong some form of build-up tension na na-feel. Pero parang for me kasi, no, minsan those things are what creates some form of climax or highlighted energy that can create a lot of wonderful things for a lot of people in most cases. So, yeah, you might put all of those things into consideration if you're interested. But yeah, that's going to be the energy overall. Let's not forget, no, na meron tayo yung Mercury is actually creating that square to Neptune. So there could be an issue here wherein totoo ba to o hindi? And when there is always an aspect with Neptune, I always advise people to look at things in a very intuitive level, look at things in a very spiritual level all at the same time, and don't try to assume that you get the facts right. You don't assume that you are able to read the fine print in a way that you're actually looking into things. Alam mo yun? There could be something that's false. There could be something that's not true. And all those kinds of things. And at the same time, you might be getting, some form of downloads, like hindi mo alam saan sila galing, pero you are actually receiving a lot of feedback. You're actually receiving a lot of messages of some kind. And those things might actually come into play. Those kinds of things. But traveling and creating some form of movement, hasty things, impulsive things are not really supported at this time, as they might create some form of, you know, accidents and stuff. All of those things might come into play with this energy as well. So it's not really very much advisable. Lalo na we have that, you know, square with the Jupiter square Mars. So there could be, you know, some form of a traffic jam or some form of accidents involving a lot of people. So yeah, it's never really nice to travel during this time with this eclipse as well. So anything, you know, if you have important events, important meetings, I do not really advise you guys to go through with at the, lalo na pagka hindi naman kayo ganun ka-prepared, you haven't really done your research, or you don't know what you're doing. They're not really the most important, they're not really the most advisable dates for you, if you would ask me. However, this could be, you know, one of those times wherein you can think and envision the things that you want to work on, and slowly work through them, and start them. All of those things can come into play, and you know, like I said earlier, it can be a good manifestation for you, because when it comes to manifestation, when done right, and when, you know, pagka nandun ka sa energy or channel mo, you are in your own vibration. Neptune can be much better than Jupiter at this, you know, that kind of energy. So it has that form of element and energy in place. So that's actually one of the, you know, really wonderful things about this solar eclipse. Also, that 12 degrees is a very Pisces degree. So, you know, we should be doing things in a very intuitive level and really working through things in our emotion in place. It's just that, no, minsan kasi pagka hindi natin nalalabas yung mga nafe-feel natin, or alam mo yun, marami tayong mga nafe-feel, tapos hindi natin sila nasa-sort out ng maayos, it can actually create some form of complications here and there. So you might need to be careful about that. But overall, this is actually one of those energies na I really, really like, because even though it has a form of scary things because of the element of, you know, bad people or some people with evil minds coming into play, there's also an element wherein you have the power to see through things only if you are looking at things in your mind's eye, or, you know, in a very intuitive level, in a very spiritual level, all those kinds of things. And also, I do not suggest you to do your revenging during this time, because, you know, like I said, the more na mainit ang ulo mo, the more matatalo ka sa situation na to. And let's not forget that Saturn is also creating a square to Uranus during this new moon. And Saturn square Uranus can create accidents, okay? Diyan siya sikat in most cases. So let's be mindful of the things that we actually do. And even though that all new moons are all about new beginnings, you might actually start new beginning of some kind, but at the same time, there could also be some form of losses or things that you will let go of. But I really feel that, you know, transformation is also in place here. So if you are, you know, changing your old tactics, changing something that is old and bringing in something new, it's not really a loss, is it? You know, that's just for me, what I believe. You know, you might change something, create something, do some form of twist or futuristic kind of energy in place, and that's going to be a really wonderful energy for many people out there. So yeah, so that's going to be the energy. And again, another just a warning, no, to ang key talaga here is to wag padalos-dalos and wag makulit. Pag sinabing wag, 'di ba? So ingat. Ang energy kasi nitong Sagittarius, no, is that it can it can push through things because it's what they want, but they might have some form of regrets later on because meron silang decisions na hindi masyado pinag-isipan, and it can be things that they can actually regret later on. And so you're just paying for you have no one to blame but yourself later on if it manifested in a difficult way for some of you. So again, ang kalaban mo dito is ang sarili mo din at the same time. But yeah, I forgot if I've mentioned that there could be a lot of truth. Pero at the same time, it does not mean na kung ano yung alam mong totoo means yun lang ang totoo. There is an element here wherein they might also be telling you the truth, pero alam mo yun, it's not the full story yet. So, hindi ka dapat mag-judge or mag-assume ng basta-basta. Don't assume and think that what you see or what you hear or what you think is the right thing to do or the right thing, the right information, basically. So, ayun. So, what else? But, yeah. I think that's about it for the overall energy of this new moon. And I will go through things for each zodiac sign. So if you are in the sign of Aries, take a look at this by your rising sign. So for those you guys who are in the sign of Aries, sun or moon or rising sign, this is going to be happening on your ninth house, which is have a lot to do with foreign places, with your dreams and goals and desires that really makes you happy at the same time. So you might be sharing things with your friends as well, because it's having that sextile with the 11th house and creating some form of information as well in the second house. You might be investing money to learn something, to learn some form of craft, or buying things for your friends and stuff like that. You know, it's really more of a happy-go-lucky for you, but at the same time, you need to be careful because you might be spending way too much money. And if it's a good bargain, why not, right? Pero just be mindful that you're not wasting too much money just to please other people, you know, or just because nabudol ka or something like that. For Taurus people out there, this is going to be manifesting for you in your 8th house. So you might be working through some form of partnership, a business partnership, or maybe a shared working with your husband, you know, and stuff like that. However, this can, or you might find out something, you know, something that can create a lot of fear or paranoia in you, or you might get some form of downloads at the same time regarding on what you should be doing with your partnerships with people and how you handle money as well, because career and how your public life is going to be, it has some form of importance to you during this cycle. For Gemini sun, moon, and ascendant sign, this is going to be manifesting for you in your 7th house. So this has going to be an energy of having some form of happenings in your partnerships and relationships. You might start a new relationship from someone that is far, that is, you know, long distance relationship, a relationship with a foreign person, all those kinds of things, or maybe wanting to learn or travel abroad or something like that, and you might just, you know, meet someone along those lines. And just be careful that it doesn't become a fleeting kind of love, okay? So because this energy has a form of adventure, so it's not really more of a staying factor, you know, it's not something that can totally really last. So you need to really think about it, lalo na pagka meron ka ng palang partner, huwag ka na maghanap ng iba, diba? Or just be careful of the temptations that you might encounter during this time. For Cancer people, Cancer sun, moon, or your rising sign, basically this is happening in your 6th house. So you might be having the need to reinvent yourself, to work on a new hobby, or to work on some, change some form of routines at work, or maybe wanting to go on a diet or working on your health and stuff like that. You need to be very careful because if hindi mo masyado inalagaan sarili mo, you might find yourself na parang lalo ka mapapagastos later on, because of some, dahil naging pabaya ka basically. This can also create some form of manifestation wherein you need to be very careful when it comes to communications with your friendships at the same time, para hindi magkaroon ng mga gulo and arguments and drama, no? Kasi baka magkaroon ka ng element here wherein you are assuming things, or maybe they are assuming things way too much. So you also need to be very clear about the things that you actually say, and make sure that you actually follow through to whatever promises that you have given people, basically. For those of you who are in the sign of Leo, Leo sun, moon, and rising sign, this is going to be happening in your 5th house. So this is a period of time wherein fun and games are things that you would want to have, lalo na in terms of your relationships and partnerships and all of those kinds of things. So becoming really very impulsive for you is very, very strong right now. So just be careful that you're not really bumping into anyone and not offending anyone at the same time, because that can create some form of problems for you later on. But technically this is about, creating a lot of fun or having a lot of creative ideas in place. But at the same time, this can also create some form of frictions in terms of love, lalo na if you don't have any lover right now. You might be wanting to seek love, but it might not be the very lasting kind of person that you get to see or meet and that kind of stuff. But a lot of, adventures when it comes to romance are in store for you. So you might find yourself falling in love and stuff like that. So for Virgo, this is happening in your 4th house. So it has a lot to do with the home. So this might be creating, marami kang kailangan furnishing na pwedeng gawin, or maybe work at home can be a factor. There is some form of service that you do at home, or creating some form of work at home can be the things that you actually pursue during this time. And there are a lot of things that you can learn through at the same time, while at home, or maybe working through females right now can be really, really good for you. But I really feel that this can be something to do with home. But you also need to be very careful of fighting with female figures at the same time. So be careful with fighting with women in particular, especially if it's because of a misunderstanding. Now for Libra, this is happening, okay, in your 3rd house. Okay, so this is actually a wonderful energy for a lot of Libra people, because you might start a new project, or a new person can actually come into play, or some form of fated friendship can really come knocking your door right now. It could be someone that you used to know, all of those kinds of things. And you might be working through a project or a business of some kind that you've been delaying on for quite some time now. This is a very, very active energy for a lot of Libra people. So creating a lot of plannings are going to be good ventures for you during this time as well. So it's really all good. Now for Scorpio, this is going to be happening in your 2nd house. So in your 2nd house, this has a lot to do with money and your personal value. So you might be, reassessing a lot of things. You might be taking a look on your own body and the things that you eat, how you manage your health, how you look right now. Maybe you want to change something with your physical body, with your fashion style and stuff like that, wanting to be adventurous, wanting to feel good and stuff like that, because of the aspects it has also with your fourth house. So I would say whenever this happens, this is more of a situation that has to do with our emotional being, making sure that our personal values, what we truly feel, goes in line with what we really, really want, you know, and we make sure that we express that to people, lalo na pagka, alam mo yun, basically, emotional fulfillment is going to be number one for a lot of Scorpio people during this time. And you will need to pursue that, kung ano man yun. So for Sagittarius, this is happening in your first house, which is all about yourself. And this is going to be making you having that desire of wanting to start things anew, wanting to create changes here and there, wanting to manifest things, wanting to push forward things. But you need to be very careful because, like I said so earlier, you might not see things clearly, or there's an element of very Neptunian things. This can create excessive optimism for a lot of Sagittarius. But if that is something that you need, then you know that's a good thing. Okay, it's just that you also need to be very realistic with certain things, and again, don't promise anything to people if you're not really sure, because that can create some form of arguments later on. But other than that, it's actually a very wonderful thing. So there's a lot of things that you can begin, that you can start, that can make you feel good overall. You know, just be careful of not, you know, messing around too much to other people. For Capricorn, this is happening in your 12th house. So this can create some form of a battle within yourself, and some form of downloads that you can get in your dreams, in the spiritual world, and all of those kinds of things. You might find out answers intuitively on how you can manage your money, how you can gain more money, how to earn more money, all of those kinds of things, and how you will be able to get the security that you need, with whether this happens on a very financial level, or whether this is happening in a very emotional level. So all those kinds of things. For Aquarius, this is working on your 11th house. So it has a lot to do with your goals in life. You know, you might be having that envisioning of what you want to happen, what do you want to bring into play, what are your goals, how you can make it all happen. All of these things can come into play, and you can actually, you know, create that start, and you will have a lot of ideas that's going to pop into place, that you can actually work on during this time. So okay siya for, you know, starting projects, or having that, collecting ideas and doing research on what you can actually do to get to attain your goals in life, so that you can actually receive your manifestation. For Pisces, this is happening I keep saying it wrong, in your 10th house. And this is in your 10th house, which is, you know, how other people see you, and in your career, all at the same time. So I would say that, you know, sudden events can be in store for you. You might be thinking of someone from afar. This can also be because of the quincunx aspect with the third house. This might be, you know, receiving some form of news that you did not expect, or was not expecting, or wanting to communicate with someone that, you know, I kind of feel that it can actually trigger some form of trauma for some people, or having that need to sort something out. And this can also be a situation wherein you are actually very tempted to do something that you're not supposed to do because of this activation to the 12th house. But This can also be a situation wherein you might need to work through your communication skills to say something, tell the truth, be honest to someone one way or another. And you might just express yourself or expose yourself. So you might need to keep all of those things in mind. But definitely, this is going to be a period wherein you just want to be very authentic and very true to yourself, you know, regardless of the outcome of what might that be. So being true, being honest, and being very authentic is going to be very important for a lot of Pisces people. Anyways, that is it for this forecast. I think ang dami ko nang sinabi sa inyo. But anyways, I hope this helps you guys. And yeah, if you'd like to book a reading with me, I am available. Ang slots ko is currently for January to February 2022. So if you'd like to book a reading, you can go check on my website. All the links will be down in the description of this video. And you can do your bookings right there. I do astrology readings, psychic and intuitive readings, and predictions at the same time. Or you can purchase my charms and magical oils, spiritual oils if you like, and some form of jar works, which I have on my website, and they really work nicely. So if you're interested with that, you can visit the links down below in the description of this video. Anyways, thank you guys for watching and tuning in with me, and until next time, bye bye.